11th. Thank you again for joining into our weekly PPACA webinars. For those of you that are new to the format, what I've been mentioning is that we've been running these webinars for almost 3 years now, and the reason we started them was really to give you a central place that you can come to learn updates from the week and get your questions answered. So hopefully you found them useful. We really have a strong following on the webinars, and I'm really happy for that because, you know, I learn a lot from them as well. I'm not sure what my screen is doing here, but just with a quick show of hands, if you can just let me know if you can hear me, I'd appreciate it. And if you can see my screen, awesome, thank you very much. And if you want to ask questions, you can do it one of two ways. You can either raise your little hand icon that's in your control panel to the right of your screen, or you can just type a question into the question box, and we'll answer those at the end of the webinar. So let's just get right started into the agenda. Highmark terminations, for those that had clients that were terminated from Highmark, their plans from 15, they were terminated effective 12/31. They still have 60 days in which to take advantage of that qualifying event, even though it's after open enrollment. So if you have clients that have not made a decision yet, it's not too late. They have until February 29th to, again, take advantage of their qualifying event. And if Monday we're closed because of the holiday, 2/15 is the cutoff date. So if you want us to process that business for a 3/1, we will need those applications by 10 a.m. tomorrow. If you want to send yourself, if it's a Highmark application, you can just, or even Capital, you can contact your new business specialist, Katrina or Judy, and ask them for the email address in which you can send it yourself if you choose to do that. If you apply after the 15th, then you'll get a 4/1 effective date. Up until February 15th, they're still eligible for a 3/1 effective date. Hope that makes sense. We've been getting a lot of questions on terminations on FFM cases on the individual side. For example, if someone is aging into Medicare, they turn 65, but they have a spouse on the plan, how do they handle that? And one of my agent partners contacted the marketplace, and they suggest if, for instance, they become eligible for Medicare April 1st, then you call the marketplace 3/31 and terminate the person off of the plan, and it will take effect for 4/1. If they, and that kind of resets the whole program, that the remaining person on that plan can either choose a new plan or they can remain on the same plan. If they choose a new plan, everything resets. Their deductible starts again for the balance of 2016. If they stay with the same plan, it continues with all the credits that had been met up until that point. So I thought that was important to mention. Next week, NAHU webinar on commissions. They are addressing the issues with carriers dropping compensation during the SEP. I'm not sure what the webinar is, what it will bring to light, if there's any resolution. I know NAHU has sent letters to insurers and HHS about the situation. So I'm going to be on that webinar listening in. If you want details on that, let me know. I can send you the information. It came out last week, or actually I think the beginning of this week. So it may be full already. If you do want the invitation, again, just let me know. I'll send it to you. And if you can't register, then I will certainly update all of you next week on what is discussed. So also on that date, February 16th, the Employee Benefits Division here at URL is holding a 2CE seminar at the Sheraton. It's the one off of Lindell Road, the Harrisburg Hershey Sheraton, from 10 to 1. Vince Phillips will be will be speaking, and not only are you going to get 2 CEs, but you're going to learn about employee benefits, namely AFLAC, our employee benefits division, and also get some updates on this PPACA law. The Medicare 101 seminar that was scheduled for Tuesday was canceled because of the weather. It has been rescheduled to next week, February 17th, from 10 to 12. 10 to 10:30 is registration, and then 10:30 to 12, including lunch, is when the seminar is going to be running. If you are new to Medicare, you want to learn more about Medicare, the differences between the Med Sups and Med Advantage, then it's probably a seminar that you'd want to go to, and it's, again, here at URL. There is another Medicare Marketing and Compliance seminar that the Medicare Offerings Department is offering, and that's March 30th, 10 to 12. That's probably more suited to folks that are currently doing Medicare, but again, it's any and all, from what they're telling me, are welcome. So those are some upcoming training sessions that might be of interest to you. Another thing is this next bullet point, very important bullet point, commission inquiries. Obviously, the business that you wrote for 1-1, whether it's group or individual or Medicare, you're going to start wondering where those commissions are. We've created from our home page a place where you can make that inquiry and receive, it goes into a system like a tagging system, so that Brandy Coleman, our Director of Commissions, can monitor it, and when you call in, you can refer to the case and she can pull everything up by the ticket number. To get any commission inquiries into that system, you could go to our website, which is urlinsgroup.com. Under Departments, you'll see Commissions. Click on Commissions, and hopefully this will work. Come on. And you can either see your commission statement, download a direct deposit form if you have a change in where you want your commissions to go, or you can submit a commission payment issue. You just click on this, and then, of course, it's Health Exchange Commission payment issue, individual and group commission issue, or Medicare commission issue. You just click on one of those boxes and bring this up. It's going to have a web form. You just put your name, last name, your email address, and the client's information, social, etc., effective date, and then the comment. You know, I've been waiting for this case, or, you know, whatever the comment is. And then you'll get a notice that your inquiry was received. So hopefully you'll take advantage of that. I think it's going to be more beneficial as we move through and try to locate all of these commissions. Hopefully it's not going to be quite as terrible as it has been in the past. We have other carriers that are paying compensation besides our one that had a lot of issues the last couple of years. So hopefully this will help you and help us pay you faster. So the special election periods and the proof that is required, all carriers from this point on are going to require proof. However, Capital Blue Cross, they don't have their new form yet, so at this point you can still make application with Capital without having that, say for instance, that termination letter from Highmark. You can still make application, just noting that termination on the application. And also a reminder, during the special election periods, there are only 3 carriers that we offer that are currently paying commissions during the special election periods until the end of the year, and that is UPMC in Western PA, Capital Blue Cross in Central PA, and then Independence Blue Cross in the 5-county Philly area. Those are the only 3 carriers that are paying commissions at this point. The next bullet point is a bit confusing, so just so you know, the information will be in the newsletter, but it is very important that we at least talk through this so that you're aware, because I think that you will start getting questions from your Highmark insured. The Highmark Active Choice prescription requirements affects all Pennsylvania individual marketplace ACA members, all PA small group ACA members upon contract renewal, and then new to Highmark PA small group ACA members. It does not include members, small group members that are employed by a retail pharmacy or enrolled in a grandmothered health plan. What Highmark is requiring is they are making anyone or requiring anyone that is on a maintenance medication to make a choice to either get the maintenance medication through home delivery, mail order for the 90-day supply, or a 90-day supply retail where you go and pick it up from your pharmacy. They are no longer going to allow maintenance meds to be filled in 30-day intervals. So they're giving 2 fills for the 30-day supplies. They're going to be notified through letters. The announcement letter, the first announcement letter to affected individuals and members of groups is going out. Actually, they may have already received it. End of December, beginning of January. The first retail fill, there's going to trigger a letter, or will trigger a notice to the employees that they have to make a decision on their maintenance med, and the second fill trigger will remind them again that they have to make a choice on how they want those maintenance meds filled. If they don't make a decision by their second trigger, they will have to pay 100% of the cost of their prescription. It's not going to be covered under their health plan. So it's very important that you are aware of this information. Again, it's in my newsletter that just went out, and maybe contact your clients and let them know, or at least be aware of it in case they call, because it could certainly affect their bottom line and the cost of their prescription. That's pretty much it. That brings us up to the open forum. So let's see if we have some questions. And we do. All right. Does the app have to be with Highmark, or can it be any carrier for the Highmark terminations? So it can be any carrier, Sean. I was just giving the example of the Highmark termination, so that's, because that affects most of the central Pennsylvania consumers. If they were terminated, they have a qualifying event. They don't have to make application with Highmark. They can make it anywhere. The only 3 carriers that are paying, and this is also part of your question, Sean, are UPMC, Capital Blue Cross, and Independence Blue Cross. Dave says he has a lady who lost her health insurance last week due to divorce, so this will qualify for a special election period, correct? Can she apply to Capital using the online system, or would a paper application be required? Would documentation of losing insurance due to divorce be required? At this point, with Capital, she can apply either on paper or through their portal. And at this point, there is no documentation required because they've not yet created that form or the vehicle in which to provide that proof. So Dave, she does have a qualifying event. You can take advantage of that, and no proof at this point is needed. Okay, Elise is saying go over the 15th of the month cutoff. Judy is thinking it may be incorrect. We thought it was the 29th with the SEPs. It is, they have until the 29th to take advantage of their qualifying event if it was the 12/31 termination of Highmark. If they make application by the 15th, they can get a 3/1 effective date. From the 16th through the 29th, they would get a 4/1 effective date. So maybe jot a note and let me know. They're saying no. All right. Well, we'll get that information. Steve says he wants to be unmuted because he has information about the terminations, and I will do that, Steve. Let me get to you and unmute you. All right, Steve, can you hear us?
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to take that conversation a bit further about removing someone. If you have a husband and wife that are both 64, for example, I've got like 3 or 4 of these right now, and they need coverage for March 1st. Let's say just one of them does. So if you have two 64-year-olds on a under 65 plan, if you want to remove that one spouse that's aging in, the day that you call is the day that they're removed. So you literally have to call on the last day of the month. If you call like today saying, okay, I already sold her Medicare, she's going to start March 1st, I'll call the FFM and get her off the plan effective March 31st, you cannot do that. You actually have to call on the last day, which is totally aggravating. If you want to cancel the entire policy, that they can future date. So just be aware of that difference.
Okay, well, thank you, and I appreciate that. You know, these things are very confusing, and I appreciate you going the extra mile, Steve, and getting us that information. Okay, so let's get on with the questions. Hopefully everybody understood that. You know, you terminate, if you want the first of the month termination, you call in at the end, the very last day of the month. Otherwise, it would be terminated the day you call in. So just be mindful of that. Mike says, so new Capital and Highmark apps with a qualifying event from 12/31 cancellations sent directly to the carriers after 2/15 will get a 4/1 new plan effective date, not 3/1. Correct, because it all goes by application date. Dana says, Highmark Active Choice prescription, could you please repeat what happens if they do not make the change by second fill? Dana, if they don't make the change by after the second notice, the second fill, then it is not going to be a covered expense. So again, it's very important for your clients to be aware of this. They are getting letters or have already received letters with instructions, and then they'll have 2 more touches after that when they fill up the prescription. So when they go to the pharmacy and get those prescriptions filled, they're going to generate a notice reminding them that they have to make a choice. Joe says, if we have a client that wants UPMC, can we refer that one to you for enrollment and take the fee rather than get licensed for one person just for the commission? Absolutely, Joe. Sean says, if you get the app by tomorrow, will they get a 3/1 effective date? Yes, Sean. If you're sending the app to us and you're sending it here tomorrow, we need it by 10 a.m. and we'll process for a 3/1. Mike says, January apps allowed us to go past 1/15 for a 2/1 effective date. Shouldn't that be the same for February 16th through 29th for a 3/1? No, Mike, it's not, because from what my understanding is, since the open enrollment is over, that's when the extended due dates were for the 3/1s. Highmark and most of the carriers adhered to the cutoff of the 15th. So could it happen? Possibly. We've seen it happen through some systems that we use, but technically after the 15th is a 4/1. Erica says, another thing for terminating a spouse off of a plan, we found it causes issues to remove the first person listed on healthcare.gov. So it's recommended to list the younger person first so that it's easy to term off the first person going on to Medicare. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So if you do have somebody that you know is not going to be on that health plan for the entire year, such as aging into Medicare, put them as the second person, put the spouse as the primary, and there's a lot less issues. Dave says, to terminate FFM 3/1, do I call in 229 or 3/1? You call in 229. And Dana asks if the active RX applies to Medicare members. It does not. It is not on the list that it affects them. Can client cancel FFM online, or must client call FFM? They can cancel online, Dave, but it does get a little wonky. So I would say it's best to call the FFM so somebody can do it for them and understand exactly when they're trying to terminate. But it can also be done online. I just don't recommend it. So that brings us up to the end of the questions. Once again, I really appreciate everyone joining in. Our next webinar is next Thursday, the 18th. And once again, I just thank you so much for joining in, and I thank you for sending your business to URL and choosing us for your health insurance program. So Have a great day and a great balance of the week. Bye-bye.